Today we are going to make a demo of our main product, TokenD. So the short story about us. So we are a blockchain expertise center. We were founded in 2014. We executed around 15 projects, and all of them were like fintech projects. They were tokenizing something like money, gold, stocks, or other financial contracts. And then we summarized our experience and built a white label platform that it can be used to build your own platform. So it's like WordPress, but for tokenization. And to anticipate a lot of questions, so this is like for private blockchains, it becomes your system that you fully control, and then you can connect it to any external exchanges or data feeds, etc. And tokenization makes sense for any asset for which secondary market makes sense and where assets are fungible. So we didn't participate in any ICO. We didn't write any smart contracts on Ethereum. We were always focused on enterprise software. So the software has 8 core modules. We're going to show them all, and they are the private blockchain, internal payment system, internal marketplace, wallets for iOS, Android, and web. Then it's management of identities, management of permissions of administrators, management of assets like limits and fees, crowdfunding module, and other auxiliary modules. So this system is needed by those who want to build their own ecosystem where some digitized asset is moving. So the goal of TokenD is to reduce cost of development, reduce time to market of your product, and reduce risks. So now let's switch to a demo that our CTO Dmitry will conduct.
I hope everyone is okay with it, and let me share my screen in a second. Okay, so can you see it? Okay, perfect. So here we on the main page of the TokenD platform. So let's get into it and create some new user. So let's say I will create my own account. So distributedlab.com. Let's enter some password. So here we actually using asymmetric cryptography to authorize all of the requests, but it is hidden from the end users to provide them more intuitive user experience with regular emails and passwords. So here we have performed the sign up, and now system offers us to save the recovery seed. So this is one of the ways to perform recovery for the account. Another ways is to actually implement the KYC based recovery or any other you would like for your platform. So let's click continue. It's take a few seconds for our wallet to be encrypted and for accounts to be created on the blockchain. But yeah, here we are. We have signed it into the platform, and here you can see the dashboard. So we have in the system, we have created 2 tokens. It's digital gold and USD. And here we can see the price chart of our digital gold token. And as you can see, there is no movement history. So let's do some stuff with the platform. So let's start from completing the KYC process. So we go to the settings, and here you can see 2 account types, general and corporate. TokenD platform is really flexible, and it doesn't require you to stick to this model of just 2 account types. We are using role-based access control. So for administrator of the system, it is possible to configure which account actually is able to perform which operation. So for example, if you have in your platform several types of tokens like crypto tokens, fiat tokens, and security tokens, you will be able to create for your users a KYC process so that you will collect corresponding details on each step, and on each step you will grant more and more permissions. So you will be able to create account type which is called accredited investor, and this user will be able to operate with all of the tokens. And for example, if, like in my case, you have unverified account, you are able to configure that you are not able to do any operations with any tokens before you actually complete the KYC process. Yeah, but by the way, you can ask the questions in the chat, and we will try to answer them with text, or if we will have time and we will have some good questions, we will answer them live. So let's complete the KYC process. Here you can see some basic form with just first name, last name, and some ID documents and photo verification. TokenD platform is data agnostic, so this all of this information is not stored on the blockchain level. It is stored in separate module called identity storage, and it actually allows you to modify this data any way you like it. So if you would like to implement your own KYC process and you need to collect besides like first name, last name, some for example birth date, you will only need front-end developer who will be able to implement this feature within like a few hours. So let's upload the ID document. I will use the SpongeBob one, and let's select a personal photo so that administrator of the system is actually able to compare that person who appears in the ID document is the same one as here, and to make sure that no one is using some kind of stolen documents, you can ask your users to make a photo with unique identifier like this one, small C5MT7. So let's submit the request. Let's click confirm, and now we should wait a few seconds for transactions to be applied. Yeah, here we can see that our verification request is submitted. So now we can switch to admin panel and actually review this KYC request. So now I have switched tab to admin panel, and here you can also see that it is possible to sign in with regular username and password. We also enforce a second verification factor. So we currently use Google Authenticator, so it is possible for your admins to still have good user experience, but also have decent degree of security. What is more, it is possible to sign in with seed. So in case I'm super concerned about security, I can store the seed somewhere on secure device and just sign in with it. So let me copy my seed and sign into the system. So this is the main page of admin panel. We can see we have already several users sign up into the system. So let's go to our KYC request and approve it. Administrator of the system is able to see all the information provided by the user. So here we can see like my email, we can see passport, we can see my personal photo, and we can see some data which I have uploaded. And as I already mentioned, all of this data is not stored on the blockchain level. It is stored in the identity storage, and so it is possible to be GDPR compliant. And yeah, so no issues with that. So let's approve my account. And yeah, now we are approved, and switch back to our web client. So to show you more deeply functionality of TokenD, let me switch to another account which actually have some assets on their balance. So let's use Bob, sign in. and go to the dashboard. So here you can see that we have some USDs issued on our account, and we actually have performed some trading and investing into some sales available in the system. So here we can also see this digital gold, we can see its prices, we can see all the operations, like the most recent operations we have performed with our wallet. We can see some deep insights of those operations. So what amount have we transferred, what fees we had to pay, what fees our receiver had to pay, and who actually paid it. So is it receiver or the destination? Okay, so yeah, let's continue and transfer some funds to our newly created account. So let's transfer digital gold to, let's transfer 4 of them to dh@distributed.lab.com. It is possible to attach some additional information to the transfer. So it can be any data. We accept JSON objects. So your developers will be able to attach anything, like it is possible to attach file to the transfer. It is possible to attach some additional details, like, for example, invoice number, etc. We will just leave some small message, click continue. Now we can review what fees we're going to pay. So sender fees are going to be charged from my balance, and recipient fees are going to be charged from the amount we are transferring. And if it's an issue, we can click the button to pay all the fees for the recipient, so that not depending on the fees they having, they will receive 4 of our digital gold tokens. Let's click continue. Our payment successfully accepted. So let's refresh the page and actually see it in our dashboard. So yeah, here you can see we've just transferred 4 gold tokens. Another cool feature we have besides the KYC is actually internal decentralized exchange. So it is possible to create some secondary market for your orders, for your tokens, sorry. And all the participants who are allowed to perform such operations will be able to freely exchange them with any type of tokens admin allows to exchange them. So here we can see the chart of the price for our gold token USD pair. We can see some trading history, which we've done today while testing the system before the demo. You can also see that we have some orders, open orders in our order book. So yeah, let's sell some gold tokens. Click confirm. So now we should receive almost 10 gold tokens. Oops. Okay, it seems that, yeah, another cool feature is that TokenD doesn't allow you to cross your own orders. So it is not possible to create some random matching information because PAN account has been exchanging the assets on his own. So yeah, to show you the functionality of trading, let me switch to another account. This one is Bob. Let's sign out. Let's use our corporate account. The difference between corporate and general account in this configuration is that corporate account is actually able to create their own tokens and to create a crowdfunding for them. So besides the admin, it is possible to grant users permissions to create their own tokens. Okay, so we have been doing some trading. Let's go to trading and okay, we have insufficient funds here. Maybe we will be able to buy something. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, our order has been successfully matched, and after the refresh, we will be able to see it in our trading history. So yeah, here it is. Perfect. Um, yeah, so I think it's time for us to create our own token. So let's go to the token sections. Here you can see all of the tokens which were created in the system. You can see some information like maximum amount available in the system, amount of tokens issued, amount of tokens available for issuance. You can see terms. Here we have the token without any terms. So yeah, let's create a new one. Let's call it TokenD demo. Oh, sorry, this one is named TokenD demo. Yeah, so with the tokens, we have the same flow as with our KYC data. So it is possible to attach any information you would like to the token. Here we have like the field called token name. It is also attached to it as information which doesn't affect any business logic. So let's specify a maximum amount which we will be able to issue once per time in the system. Let's specify the type of the token. So does it require KYC or it's not requires KYC? As I've mentioned before, we are using role-based access control. So it is possible to gradually configure the system so that you have more than binary options like to require KYC or not to require. It is possible to specify like various levels of KYC required to be performed to actually be able to operate with this token. So let's require the KYC for our token, and let's make sure that it's possible for users to actually transfer them within the system. So we can also attach some token icon, but let's skip this step for now. And here we have the advanced tab. So this tab allows token creator to actually manage their risks and to actually use some key pair which is stored on secure device, which is don't have any connection to the internet, and which allows you to actually grant permission for the system to be able to issue some amount of tokens. So let's skip this step as well. If you have any questions regarding this, feel free to ask them in our chat. Pavel and Oleg will be happy to answer them. So let's click submit and confirm. As we have seen with KYC, we also require admin verification of the token. So that, like in case of some legal issues, we will be bulletproof in the eyes of regulator. Yeah, also all of these requests like KYC or token creation or fund creation are using tasks to actually make sure that it is possible for you to build a workflow on how to approve those requests. So for example, with KYC, you are able to configure the system in a way that by default, it will require verifications from several admin, maybe from some automated module, which will verify it against sanction lists, etc. So it's really flexible. It's really convenient for developers, and it allows you to quickly deliver some cool features to your customers. So yeah, let's approve creation of our TDD token. Here, as admin, we are able to verify all the information provided for this token. It is also possible to extend it with some additional checks, but now we will just approve the request and continue with creation of crowdfunding campaign. So let's switch back to our corporate account and let's explore currently open funds. So here we have created 3 funds. They are quite basic. They store some basic information like the logo of the sale, the name of the sale, and some marketing information about it. And we can see some beautiful charts which are like now not fully beautiful, but within a functional system where lots of users, it will look much better. And what is more, we have built the web client and our mobile applications, keeping in mind that for developers it should be super convenient to modify it, because most of the requests which we have received recently for TokenD platform, all of them require some modifications of the UI. Yeah, so let's create our new campaign. Let's switch back to funds, create fund, and here we can also specify lots of additional details for our crowdfunding campaign. So let's call it TokenD demo sale. Let's select our recently created token, TokenD demo, and let's specify the start date, for example, on Friday, and the close date on the end of the March. So with those parameters, it is possible to configure it when actually, if we have not collected the soft cap, when the sale should be cancelled and all of the investment assets should be returned back to investors. So let's specify the soft cap, the hard cap, the amount of TGD tokens we would like to sell, and what tokens we are able to accept. So here we have, in our system, we only have 2 of them, but in your case, it could be much more. So you can allow your users to invest some crypto. We also provide you with a fully functional module, which allows you to list more than 100 crypto tokens in the TokenD platform. So let's click next. Let's upload some cover image. So let's use SpongeBob one more time. It is possible to specify the short description, which is visible right here. So let's just add some short message. Click next. And here in full description, it is possible to attach some, actually also any information. It could be just a link to YouTube video so that your investors will be able to see some beautiful marketing video. Also, it is possible to add some description. We support Markdown here, so it is possible to style it in a way you like it. Also, it's possible to attach images to this text, some links, etc. So let's click submit and confirmed, and wait a few seconds for transactions to be applied. Okay, perfect. Transaction is applied. So now we can switch back to the admin panel and actually approve this request. In some cases, it's not convenient for users to do a token creation and sale creation in 2 steps. So our platform supports joining it into 1 step. So your user will be able to create a token and corresponding crowdfunding for it within 1 step, which might be better user experience. So here are our managed fund requests. So we would like to create one. It is possible for admin to verify all of this information, to verify who is actually able to perform investments into this fund. So admin can be quite sure that all the regulations are followed. So let's click, in case, for example, if we have some issues, it is possible to specify the reason and to request the creator of this fund to actually update the information. So let's click approve and submit. Okay, perfect. So now our fund is created. So now we can switch back to our corporate account, refresh the page, and see it in here. Okay, so let's continue with our next features. So as I already mentioned, we have built lots of production-ready projects which had to fulfill different regulations. That's why we have built a platform which allows you actually out of the box to manage some limits, some restrictions. And now let's switch to the limit section where we can see that during the configuration, we have specified that, for example, for payments, we are not allowed to transfer more than 10,000 of gold tokens. We are not allowed per day, we are not allowed to withdraw more than 10,000 tokens, and we are not allowed to deposit more than 10,000 tokens. What is more, in some cases, you can have users who have some like corner cases, and they're able to provide you with more assets. So for those cases, they're able to send you change limit request, specify the operation for which they're willing to change those limits, and attach some information like proving that those assets are actually legal. They can provide you with some proof of income, etc. So it's super flexible, it's super convenient, and all of those features are working out of the box. Okay, so another cool feature is with TokenD, you're actually able to fully control the fees your users are paying. So it is possible to show this feature. Let me switch to the admin panel and click fees. So here you can see that we are able to select the scope of this fee. So we are able to set the global fee, which will be applied for all of the accounts. We can specify account type fee. So for example, we will be able to specify for corporate accounts some different fees, or if you have some special customer, you are able to specify those fees like explicitly for this account. Also, you're able to differentiate the operations. So if user performs just regular transfers, they're able to pay one fee. If this is trading, some other fee. If it's withdrawal, issuance, invest. So it's super flexible as well. For some of the operations, you're able to specify some specific subtype of this fee. So in our case with payment, we can specify the direction of the operation for which those fees should be applied. So as we can see, for outgoing payment, we have from if we transfer for example, 50 tokens, USD tokens, then we will fall through to this fee, and we will pay just 1%. And our receiver will pay for any amount, also 1% plus 2 USDs fixed price. Yeah, and obviously it is also possible to specify the asset for which those fees should be applied. Okay, so yeah, so we have seen like quite a lot of features, and when you actually start building the platform and when you onboard customers, you can see that you actually need to onboard admins as well. And usually you don't want those admins, those hired admins, to have full control over the system. You want to restrict them from like changing fees, for issuing some tokens, from creating some tokens. So for example, if you hired someone just to verify the KYC, you won't be you want to be super precise in what rights you are actually granting to this person. So in TokenD platform for admins, for signers of the account, it is possible to also super gradually configure the rights for those accounts, what operations they're able to perform. We are also using role-based access control here, so you can be super precise. You can specify that this admin is only able to verify KYC information of certain account type, and it doesn't have any access to any other data, and this admin is not able to like change any data beside like just approving, rejecting the request. So here you can see the signer role. It is possible to specify like super admin, KYC AML admin who is just able to verify the KYC, or external system administrator who is responsible for interconnecting TokenD system with some external systems. Like here you can see only 3 of the admin roles, as we've tried to make this like demo system as simple as possible. But as I already mentioned, it is possible to be super graduate in specifying all the rights you are granting to your user. What is more, we also support multi-sig for the admins. Unfortunately, the admin panel is not fully supporting it yet, but our core is fully production ready, so it is possible for you to implement some more complex flows where some operation requires approval from several admins. Okay, so let's we've also have our mobile wallets, which are fully functional, which has the same functionality as our web client. As nowadays, the system should be accessible from any device, and it should be actually convenient for your users to actually do stuff with the system. So let me try to share my screen. Hope everything will go smoothly with it. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. So here I'm launching the TokenD application. This application is actually able to communicate with any TokenD based system. So in case you would like to have like the application which is super generic and which is able to communicate with any system, you are able to create it as a code for both Android and iOS applications, full open source, so you can do anything with it. Here you can see that I already have signed it before using this device, and now I'm able to sign in with just Touch ID. So here I'm signed in as Bob, which account we've actually used for the demo. We can see our balance. We can see this balance converted to USD. We use we use data feed from the blockchain, and it is actually possible to connect some external data feeds to provide you with most accurate information regarding the exchange rates. So here we can see some pending orders. Oh, yeah. Sorry for the small screen. Hopefully now you can see it better. So yeah, we can see some most recent transaction history. We can see our pending orders, which we have created before. And yeah, basically, as I've said, it has all the functionality the web client has. So it is possible to perform some deposit of external funds. As you can see here that there is no assets which can be deposited. It is possible to withdraw asset with it. It is possible to perform the transfer, and we also allow you to do it with some QR code scanning. It is possible to explore funds and invest into them. So here you can see that all of our funds, crowdfunding, are all upcoming. So we are not able to invest into them yet. yeah, we can trade some gold. We can see the charts of the prices, and yeah, we can create a new order. So it's fully functional. It is production ready. It is open source, so you can, if you don't like the UI, you can modify it. We do not restrict you from keeping your modified source code private. We do not require to making it open source, so you can be fully in control of all the work you have done, and yeah, you can build your own product with TokenD system. Okay, so I think this is all from my side regarding the demo. So now let's probably switch to the questions. Okay, so we have selected some of the questions. So guys will share them with me in a second. So give us a few seconds. Okay, so now I have my I have questions open. So we have divided them into three sections. So one of them is KYC, another one is tokens and trading, and the third one is mix. So yeah, let's start from the KYC. So the question is, can we plug in any KYC service? If so, what's the format? Do you require a specific standard and JSON format from the third party? Yeah, so yes, TokenD is highly modular system, so it is possible to plug in any kind of service to integrate the TokenD with some external platform. We do not have any requirements regarding the format. So this is the question to the developers who will be actually doing this integration. So they will need to be in touch with your front-end developers and your business analytics, so they're able to define their own requirements for data to be collected, and you can freely just transfer it through the JSON and anchor all of this information into the core. As I already mentioned, we are not storing this data on the blockchain level. It is stored in the separate module. Yeah, just summary, yes, it is possible to integrate any KYC service. It's super easy, it's super convenient, and if the API on the part of the service to be integrated is good, then it will probably take your developers to do it within like a few weeks. Okay, so another question, assume KYC is performed in secondary issuance, not just primary issuance. Is it only with ID mined? If we bring along our own KYC provider, is it easy to configure? Yes, so KYC verifications like business rules on the KYC, who is able to access which data, is actually performed on each operation. So during transfer, we verify that receiver is actually able to receive those tokens. During trading on secondary market, we also do those verification. During primary issuance, we also do these verifications. Is it only with ID mined? No, you will need to integrate, like you can integrate any service you would like. You will send the just like minor information specifying that, okay, this user is able to use security tokens and this user have not completed the full KYC process, so that they're not allowed to do this. And that's all. So it doesn't depend any way on the external service which actually performs verifications. And yes, it is super easy to integrate within the system. However, it mostly depends on the quality of this third-party service to be integrated. Okay, so the next question, if it's an accredited investor, it's more than photo, first name and last name. We have to prove income of assets and yeah, income of assets. So yes, for sure, the KYC verification is not limited to just first name, last name, and photo. As I mentioned, it is possible to fully configure this KYC process for your needs. So, for example, for just some users who are willing to only use crypto, you can collect some minimal data required. But for accredited investors, you are fully able to collect all the information needed. You can collect proof of incomes, etc. You can do some additional verifications and basically use the TokenD system as storage for hashes of this data to make sure that like no one has modified it, and to actually implement this business logic for verifications who is able to perform operations with which token. And the next one is why stored in the identity storage? Does that mean it's stored by ID Mind or some off-chain table managed by someone? By identity storage, I mean our fully custom module, which basically just stores the information of the user. So it's not like third party or it's not identity mind, it's just a module which you as owner of the system fully controls. You're able to control who is actually able to access this data. You're able to control in which country this module should be deployed. So yeah, it's super flexible. It's not third party, and yeah, I hope I have answered this question. Can we do moving video to prevent photo being misused? Yes, actually it is possible to attach video to the KYC. So what you can do is to request your user to actually record the video and upload it. In some cases, it might not be applicable because due to some jurisdictions, you need to make sure that the verifier of the KYC and actual user to be verified, they just like communicating in person. So if you have experience with some of the European verificators, they can use video calls to do all those verifications. So in such cases, it is possible to move the verification to this third party. They will do like all the stuff with video, and after that your automated module will just send the information regarding which account type should be granted to this specific user. Okay, so we have completed the KYC section with questions, and now we are starting tokens and trading. Are those prices aggregated from ATS, automatic tracking system, alternative trading system, and crypto exchanges, or are we just talking about primary issuance here with trading with the platform? Yes, prices are aggregated from external sources. We are going to provide you with CoinMarketCap integration, but using this module as reference implementation, it would be super easy for developers to connect any other data feed like some crypto exchanges or some other informational services. The third question is what kind of wallets are supported? I mean, how can I transfer tokens created on the platform? Only a specific type of wallets or any? Okay, so this is really good question. TokenD allows you to manage those tokens within the system. So to connect to the TokenD, you will actually need to use the token, like the wallets we have developed. You can fully modify them. Currently there is no third-party wallets available out there which are able to communicate with TokenD system. Also, if you would like to, for example, to allow your users to use some ERC20 wallets or some other wallets, it is possible to connect TokenD system with Ethereum and actually log them in TokenD system, transfer them to Ethereum, and allow your users to fully manage those tokens in Ethereum system. And actually, this approach with exporting tokens issued in the TokenD system to Ethereum is quite a good way to actually list those tokens in some crypto exchanges, because it will be quite difficult probably to convince them that they need to do another integration with another system. They already have integrations with ERC20 tokens. So it's possible to use Ethereum as proxy between TokenD system and exchanges. The first question is, when you create the token, is it ERC20 or similar interface? Yeah, so a TokenD is quite different from Ethereum. It doesn't allow customers or users to actually create their own smart contracts. So by saying that is that ERC20 or similar interface, I would say that those tokens are divisible and fungible. So yes, it is like similar to ERC20 interface. The fifth question is, we need to ensure that tokens emulate restrictions imposed on the underlying assets. For example, securities under Regulation S. But the challenge is also to make tokens to be listed on other exchanges. Yeah, so within TokenD system, you will be able to fully control who is able to use tokens you have issued. Within like other exchanges, it is a bit more difficult. So you have two ways. The first one is to force those exchanges to also follow those regulations. Another way is probably not the best, but what you can do is actually force your users to perform the KYC on the deposit back from the external system. So for example, user A has fully completed the KYC process. They are allowed to manage securities. They transfer those tokens to some exchange platform. In the exchange platform, they like trade them, exchange to some other assets. So now user B owns those tokens, but within the account of this exchange to which we initially transferred the tokens. So now when user B wants to actually withdraw those tokens, it is possible for you to do the verification and ensure that like this user B is actually allowed to manage those tokens. Another question, the sixth one, is, do you have an investor custody solution for TokenD created tokens? I'm not sure that I have understood the question, so hopefully Pavel will, like 1 second, let Pavel. Yeah, but Pavel have suggested that we are talking about security of a token's issuance. So we have offline application, which actually allows you to pre-authorize tokens to be issued. So in case you have created a token in the system and you want to make sure that like administrator of the system or person which is responsible for issuance, you don't want to grant them too much like rights to issue any amount of tokens. You can use this device to actually gradually allow them to issue small amounts. So for example, if I have created a BTC token in the system and I have implemented some small module which actually allows to interconnect TokenD system with Bitcoin network, I would like to only allow this automated module to issue tokens within small thresholds. So I would say that, okay, for initial start, while I'm testing this module, I will grant it to only issue like 1 Bitcoin. Then when I'm sure that it works smoothly, I will be able to grant another permissions like to issue 1,000, etc. And all of this is managed by my private key, which is stored on the offline device, which doesn't have any access to the internet. So it's super difficult for hackers to actually attack me and steal my private key from this issuance module. Okay, so another question is, what standard are you using for whitelist, blacklist in your C20 with an expectations that there will be functionality that will query some off-chain blacklist, whitelist table managed by TokenD or directly by Identity Mind or some other platform name or other standard. The key is that when we are trading on an ATS or primary issuance with TokenD, the check needs to happen. If it happens with TokenD, then this may not work with secondary issuance on an exchange. So maybe TokenD holds the table of authorized user and we use an ERC20 interface. Yeah, so it is possible to use, in such cases, you can use TokenD as actually provider of this black white list. So only thing you will need to do is to implement this module, which will interconnect the Ethereum network or a external exchange, and this module will proxy requests to TokenD, just like requesting, specifying the identifier of the account, specifying the amount of tokens, specifying the actual token code, and TokenD system will be able to answer if it's whether or not it is allowed for this user to actually hold these tokens or transfer them. Yeah, so another question, so is it just for private blockchain? Otherwise, we issue any tokens that can be traded on ATS such as T0, Rialto. So we need to make a decision on whether it's ERC20, some other standards, so that what I'm interested in understanding further, when you click create token, somehow our tokens gets created on our chain that we will plug in. But I don't understand how we specify that the token is on is one of specified interface. So currently we fully supporting, like we fully following this ERC20 standard, which allows you to do some basic stuff with the tokens. So yeah, it is possible to interconnect the TokenD system. It is not possible yet to select the standard of the token when you actually create the token within TokenD system. Do the users need specific type of wallets? Can tokens be traded on exchange or just on the platform? So yeah, as I already mentioned, it is possible to both trade those tokens within the platform or to transfer them to external exchange. Via the exchange, so we can implement TokenD on our exchange, and as I understood, we can control transaction with TokenD on other platform by forcing KYC whitelisting procedures. So yes, exchanges also able to use the TokenD system as just a framework to create those to follow those regulations and to grant the API for other platforms to actually verify whether or not users are accredited, not accredited. So yeah, basically you can use TokenD as PKI platform with some additions of KYC verifications. And now we have finished the trading section and switching to other questions. So the first one is, where are your nodes? Do you have Network Explorer or nodes monitoring? Because if we cannot validate node, how we can make sure that there is a blockchain? Yes, so our nodes are deployed in AWS. We currently don't have Network Explorer because we are not creating our own network. So what we do is we provide software for like other companies who are willing to build something on the blockchain. How can you validate that this is a blockchain? You can use our developer edition, which is GitHub TokenD developer edition. You can deploy the same demo I have been showing you today within like 3 commands. You will also need like Docker and Linux or macOS device to do this, but you will be able to deploy it and explore some low-level APIs, which are actually showing that blocks are closing, etc. But probably the best way to verify that this is blockchain by just making sure that it is possible to securely synchronize data across several nodes. So what you can do is play around with TokenD Developer Edition, change slightly configuration, and deploy deploy another node and see that they are fully synchronized and all the data is verified. Okay, so the next question. How can we have access to your node application? What programming language you have used? What system requirements is needed? Yeah, so currently we have available TokenD Developer Edition in our GitHub. It's like fully functional. It's the same source code which we are using in production deployments. By the end of this week, we are planning to release scripts which allows you to deploy all the network in the Kubernetes within just like a few commands, which will be fully production ready. And what programming languages we are using is for the core of the system, we are using C++. As storage is divided in 2 parts, so one of it is Postgres, another one is for actual transaction history. It is AWS S3. For auxiliary modules, which interconnect our system with some other systems, we are using Golang, and for web client, we are using Vue.js. For iOS application, we use Swift, and for Android application, we are using Kotlin. Also, you can check out our API. So we provide you with REST API to read the information or to write information off-chain, and we provide you with some super intuitive RPC, which actually allows you to send transactions into the blockchain. Another question is, oh, so this is your own blockchain. Like, this is not, this is our own software to build your own blockchain platform. Fourth question, a platform that offers securities are required to register as national exchange or alternative trading system or apply as broker dealer. How are you handling this? Does this mean that this can only be in US or can be used in like some other countries? So we only provide the software. We are not like providing you with legal framework or licenses or etc. If you are willing to build a securities platform, you can use TokenD as like technical backing. However, you will need to go through all the legal issues on your own. But I believe it won't be like a major issue. We have actually received with TokenD software payment institution license in Georgia, but it's not like a state, it's country. So Georgia, which is not in the USA, just to make sure. And the last question is it possible to automate interest payments when I implement PSP? I think about issuing bonds on TokenD. Yeah, sure, it is possible to implement those interest payments. We are currently working on blockchain level operation, which will allow you to actually just specify the amount of tokens you are willing to distribute and for holders of which token you are willing to distribute, and it will calculate how much of which tokens should be sent to specific user. And so yes, sure, you can implement an automated module which performs those transfers and pays the interest. And by the way, regarding the issuance of bonds, I think that you will be interested in our next demo, which will be focused on real estate investment trust funds. And we are actually going to show this interest payment feature in this demo. Okay, so this is all the questions guys have prepared for us from the chat. So if your questions due to some reasons have not been answered, feel free to write to my personal email, which I will send in a second in the chat. Okay. Yeah, so feel free to contact me directly if you have any like technical questions. If you have some business questions, it is better to contact Pavel directly, but in any case, if you will contact me, I will be able to route you to correct person to handle your question. So thank you for joining us. Hope you had a good time. Hope you have heard something interesting, and have a great week. Thank you. Bye.